Today is the day I show off my Transformers deck, the amazing Springans Autobots. Actually, correction, no one wants to be Autobots. It's all about the Decepticons. But really, it's Springans, but to me they do look like Transformers. I mean, Sargas looks like that one from Transformers 1. The movie, the one fighting in the highway. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick run through of my deck, why I've used certain cards. After the deck profile, I'll be giving you my pros and cons on this deck, what are the best things and what are the worst. And then I'll give you two combos, one with the worst possible start, but yet it's still a solid, strong end board, and then the best possible start, which is an amazing end board. Honestly, it rivals the top tier decks. Before I begin, two things. One, with this deck, I managed to get to Master Rank 3, but then as soon as I got to Master Rank 3, I got demoted. But this was last season. Currently, this season, I'm in Master Rank 3 again. However, I didn't get it with Springans. With Springans, I got to Master Rank 4, but it was a combination of Springans and Generators. And then with Generators, I got to Master 3. I am confident I could get this deck to Master 3 again, but above that, that's where it's a big struggle. And I'll get to it when I talk about the pros and cons. Now, secondly, if you are new to my channel and you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button to be up to date with all my content, like deck profiles on rogue decks or top tier decks, but mainly rogue decks, or to be updated when I live stream, which includes 1v1s with viewers. Alright, we can go through this fast since you can see the cards. We have the Cyframe package, so Driver and the two Gammas. We have the 3 Drolls, 3 Maxi, and 3 Ash. They are like the best hand traps right now in the game. Some of the top tier decks search a lot, so you want to draw them. Sadly, it doesn't work for branded that much. Maxi's Maxi. Ban this card, please. But until then, you have to play it. If you don't, you're really just basically weakening yourself. And 3 Ash, because Ash is amazing. Now, for the main deck, we have 3 Rocky and 2 Brothers. I think this is a good amount for them. Rocky, you can add a Springans back from the graveyard to your hand, which then you could use for your field. So he's helping you for the grind game. I'd rather have 3 of him because you don't mind having him in your hand. Unlike Brothers, you usually like to send him from the deck. But if you have him in your hand, you want to at least put Rocky in the graveyard, so when you do send Brothers, you can then use Brothers effect, which special summons a Springan monster from the graveyard onto the field. That's why I don't run 3, because you don't really want to draw him. Honestly, you'd rather either add him or send him from the deck. 2 kits, I see some people play 3. I used to. I honestly only brought her down to 2 because I didn't have space. 3 is good, but 2 fine as well. You just need 2 technically to do her combo, because when you normal summon her, you search branded in the high spirits, and then you use this effect to basically add the other one. So you technically don't need 3, but it adds more consistency. We are playing the Scythe package because it works amazing in this deck. I know, toxic gameplay, but listen, Springans aren't even considered rogue tier. I've seen quite a few tier lists and I don't see Springans anywhere. So they deserve to get a broken card. 2 Branger, he's your searcher when he's in the grave. I used to play 1, but no, 2's definitely the one, because he's just more for mid to late game grinding. 1 Sargas, you don't really need 2 because usually you can just special summon him back again with Tally Ho or with your fusion. And 1 Therion because it's amazing in this deck and you can search him with champion easily, or with Clip or the Link monster. Now for the spells, 3 Watch, it's your searcher for your field or a searcher for a monster, and then a Foolish Burial. Amazing card, and I've got a nice royal finish, which is just 3 Great Sansi, I mean, it's your heart and soul of the deck basically. And 3 Springans Booty, this is just to search out the field. You need that field. Again, if you don't, you can do stuff with kit, but then if you don't have kit as well, you're pretty much dead. Like, honestly, if you don't open it with the field or at least kit, you lose. So 3 of this for that consistency. Now the protection, 2 Cool Buys and 1 Crossout. This is a hand trap meta, everyone's running them, so you need to protect. That's one of the reasons I'm playing Cyframe. Luckily with this deck, when you use your field, you send from your hand to special summon from your extra deck, so you might get Maxied. Or when you do use like Springans Watch to add, or when you use Brothers in the graveyard. Basically, you usually don't have a monster on the field, so your opponent might activate a Droll, an Ash, a Maxi, and then boom, you hit them with the Gamma, and it's GG. 1 High Spirits for kit, and 3 Tally Ho Springans, because this card is just, it's busted. Great for OTKs and great for spamming XYZs or links. Now, for the extra deck, Iron Dash Dragon brings out Sargas. Frame Lord Omega, that's for your Cyframe Gamma. We've got the Utopic package because we have Gargoyle Magician, which you can use Gargoyle Magician to bring back a rank 4 from the graveyard if they've been special summoned properly, to then go into Utopic Future. Amazing. Dweller, you know, in case you're facing a deck that requires using the graveyard. 2 Merrymaker. I wish I could run 3, but I don't have space. And 1 X-Blower. Some people don't even run this. I love it because sometimes it's just a get out of jail free card. They may have 2 monsters or they have a monster in extra monster zone and they have another monster in the middle, and it's like, cool, I'll just do it behind extra monster zone, so then you can pop both if you have 2 materials. It's actually pretty funny. And 2 Champion, because he's pretty much your best card, since you can search out Tally-Ho or Therion. He can bounce or pop. Oh, I love him. 1 Zeus, because this is probably the best deck for Zeus. They say Zodiac is the best, but no. If you have enough Springans in the graveyard, bro, you can have the fattest booty. Now for the links, Clipboard Genius to search out Therion, Dagda for your Scythe, and Underworld Goddess, because I just love this card. You actually don't need her. She's more of a follow-up card for turn 3, but I just love her, and she's a royal finisher. It's like I kind of have to have her there. She looks amazing. Sounds like I'm simping over this card. So that is the main deck. Now I'm going to give a quick brief on what are the pros and the cons. For the pros, I would honestly say it's fairly consistent. If I was going to estimate out of 10 hands, I would say at least 6 or 7 are playable. All you need is the field and any Springans, and that's it. Or you just need a kit and again any Springans, and then you can play. So it is 2 card combos, but once you get those combos, they're never just 1 monster in the field. You can usually have a solid end board, and that's another pro. The end board honestly can rival some of the top tier decks. Basically, it's a board that forces your opponent to either scoop or set up and hope that they survive turn 3. Another pro is, as you can see, we play so many hand traps. 3, 6, 9, 11. 11 hand traps we can play. We have enough space for it. And 3 protection. Or you can consider 5 protection. Another pro, as I mentioned when I was saying extra deck, you can make a big Zeus. Honestly, I love it, man. When you have a massive Zeus and your opponent's just like, well, fuck. But yeah, look, those are the pros. The cons, 2 cons. 1, as I said, it's 2 cards minimum to do a combo. These days, the best decks usually have 1 card combos. Snake Eyes, Super Heavy, Manadium, Labyrinth. Technically, if you have the level 4, I forgot the name, search either Big Welcome Labyrinth, or depending what your hand is, you can just search whatever you need, and then boom, you can kind of play from there. Math Mech. If you open up the field with no Springan card at all, or you open up kit with no Springan monster, you can't play. It's literally skip your turn, and that's what sucks. And you do get them hands. Of course, it's gonna happen where you open up a Rocky, Brothers, Branga, and maybe like 2 hand traps. You can't do anything. It sucks, and you kind of have to rely on your hand traps. And the biggest con I found out with this deck, because it happened to me multiple times, and that's when I realized, oh, this is really like bad, and this is why I'm playing Cyphering. If your opponent knows the Springans deck, they will always wait and Ash Tally-Ho. No one else. Just wait for Tally-Ho and they will Ash that. Once they Ash your Tally-Ho, you're pretty much done. You can set up your whole board, you go into your champion, you detach your materials with Tally-Ho, and if they Ash, you don't get no special summon and you get no add, and now you just have an empty champion on field who can't even use his effect. Unless your opponent for some reason makes an XYZ and then detaches, and you're done. That's it, you can't do nothing. Unless you've got hand traps and you have to again hope and pray that you can survive the next turn. But then even next turn, you might not even have a follow-up because you didn't get your ad. See, I've had matches where they would Ash or negate my Merrymaker, Ash negate my champion, Ash negate my Springan Watch, and that's fine. You can play around them depending on your hand. But if they Ash your Springan's Tally-Ho, your turn is pretty much done. It really, really hurts the deck, and you can end up with just having nothing. It sucks. And when I learned that, that's when I played Cyphering. I was like, do you know what? I need to have anything to protect my deck. So if I had one of these with a Cyphering, I would always use the Cyphering first if I have no monster on board, so then I can save one of these 3 for when I use Tally-Ho When I have one of these three in opening hand, I feel so safe. But if I don't, I'm nervous because if my opponent knows who Springans are, they'll wait. But luckily, Springans are not known. As I said, they're one of the most slept on decks. They're never on tier lists. Not even rogues, which is crazy because it's at least a rogue. So yeah, I'm always surprised. But that's why I said in the beginning of this video, could I get it above Master 3? I don't think so. Because obviously the higher you get in the ranks, the better your opponent is. And the better your opponents are, the more likely they will at least know this deck. You'll still get some who won't, but majority of the time, they will at least have heard of Tally-Ho Springans, and they will be patient, and that's it. They will ash the right card. When you're in the lower ranks, most of those players won't know this deck. So most of the time, they will hit your Merrymaker, they will hit your champion. Alright, cool, I'll do my Tally-Ho, bye-bye. But when you get to those good opponents, that's when this deck struggles. But yeah, there you go. That's the deck profile. That's my pros and cons for the deck. So now, let's get on with the combos, and then we end. Oh, I will mention, there will be a montage on this deck coming out in the next few days. So if you have watched this, like on the day of release or the next day, stay tuned for the montage. That's why subscribe. Alright, so here is the first combo when you have Kit and a Springans monster. Now at this point, if you had Baranga as the monster in your hand and you sent it to grave, then you can send technically any other Springans except Sargass. I would probably just send a Rocky since you have more of him, but in my case I didn't send Baranga from the hand, so I need to get him into the grave. It's important you have him in the grave for his search effect. So there you go. That is the end board when you have just Kit and a Springans monster. 2 interruptions with Champion and Sargass. Obviously, Champion can only activate its effect after you activate Sargass, so you kind of have to wait. For example, if your opponent has 2 monsters on field, or a continuous spell or trap, or a field and another card on the field, then you use Sargass's effect detached from Utopic Future, then that will activate Champions in the new chain. You have an Omni negate and you have a monster negate, and potentially taking their monster over. Just with Kit and 1 Springans monster can get you this, which is actually a really powerful board. Again, with just 2 cards in your hand, and we don't know what these 3 would be. Obviously, in my case, I could have had a much better combo, but maybe these could have been a Maxi, an Ash, Cool Buys. That's why I said with the pros, this deck can have honestly solid end boards. Final combo, the best combo, you're gonna need the field and Springans Watch, and this is honestly a disgusting end board, which pretty much get your opponent scooping or hoping they can survive until turn 4. So there's the full combo, the most powerful combo you can get right here. You could have activated Dagda on your turn before using High Spirits. You could have gone into Dagda, but I do it. It doesn't really matter because on draw phase you can then use Tally Ho if you really want to just get your scythe straight away, for example. Then we activate Dagda. Probably Rocky, so you can add one back to your hand like Kit. We don't want a special summon here because we need it for the scythe, so no. Destroy and boom, there we go. And there, now your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. We've got an Omni Negate, we've got a Pop, and a monster negate. If we have space on the board, we can then take control. Extremely strong board. And then of course we would have 4 cards in our hand, one being the field, one being Rocky, which we've just added, and then 2 random cards. In my case was Called by and Maxi. Maxi would have been perfect. You might get Droll, Ash, or whatever. This is a powerful board, and usually when I get this off, if my opponent hasn't stopped me, it's usually GG. And let's say it did go into turn 3. This is what I'm talking about going into the Goddess. I could then use Sargass, Scythe, and Dagda, go into Goddess, and then with another Tally Ho, I could just bring back Sargass. So there you have it, the combos, the deck profile, and my reasonings why this deck is good and bad. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. And again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Now, with the Transformers deck profile complete, let me know, are you an Autobot or a Decepticon? Slouser is out.